Let's take a look at some charts on Dash from this week's article on Brand New Coin. So Dash is in a group of coins with privacy capabilities. Dash has optional privacy. It doesn't have default privacy. It's different from Monero and Grin in that respect, and more like Zcash, DCR, PIVX. It's a proof-of-stake, proof-of-work hybrid, so it's more like DCR and PIVX than Zeek. Something else to keep in mind, the network's most adjacent neighbors to Dash would be DCR and PIVX. If you want to compare a head-to-head, other than privacy capabilities, Dash leads in transactions per day and daily active addresses, mainly because of the on-chain mixing that occurs through Dash and through the privacy capabilities of the chain. Now, we don't know Monero or Grin's daily active addresses, so it's hard to see where they would place amongst Dash and Zcash. But in transactions per day, they're pretty close, Monero and Dash. Monero has extremely high fees collectively, extremely high market cap. GitHub commits transactions per day. Can't see Monero's daily transaction volume. So for me, when I think of a privacy coin, I don't think of Dash. I don't think of DCR, Zcash, PIVX. I think of Monero because if you're going to use privacy, you want default privacy. If you want encryption, you're going to use Proton Mail. You're not going to use something else. Dash has recently had a halving of sorts, a decrease in inflation, currently below 6%, which is half of Zcash. So again, if you want to compare, these and look at what are their inflations, what are their total pre-mines, what are their total coins to be mined, do they have treasuries? Those are all things you can take into consideration when you're doing a head-to-head like this. If we look at Dash's hash rate and difficulty, like most everything, it's up and to the right over the past 2 years, which is bullish. It's more secure. It's harder to disrupt network security if hash rate keeps increasing. Mainly hash rate is increasing because new ASICs are coming online and or new GPUs that aren't listed here that can mine various algorithms somewhat effectively, at least efficiently enough to where it competes with some of this stuff. I don't know for a fact if that's the case, but that would be my guess because hash rate keeps going up and there's no ASIC that can explain that. So it's either an ASIC that's in production that's not public yet or GPUs and CPUs mining Dash. That's really the only two explanations I can come up with because the last ASIC was November 2019 that was released. If you look at the number of masternodes, this is an older chart mainly because I can't find an updated chart, but they recently did hit over 5,000 masternodes, which is incredibly bullish because all of that is just supply soak, supply being locked up, hidden away, unable to be sold quickly. It can be unnoded and sent to an exchange, but that's a process. So there's some somewhat secure buying pressure, if anything, because it's on the supply-demand curve. It says if supply is being soaked up into these masternodes over 5,000, there's some confidence by somebody that thinks this is going higher. So it's not a small bet, it's a $10,000 bet at the current price, $11,000 bet for each masternode. So it's not nothing, it's not super cheap. I mean, it's half a BTC per masternode. If we look at the total notional being staked on Dash, it is on the higher side, but it's definitely not a DOT, EOS, ADA, Tezos, Algo, Atom. It's not in that vein of notional value, but it's up there for an older coin, certainly. If we look at private send transactions per day, again, up and to the right, this is very small though. It's only 120-ish. If we look at mixing transactions, I think this is where most of the transactions per day spikes are coming from, in the thousands. Again, not massive, but enough to move the needle on the on-chain metrics. If we look at the Dash Treasury, most of it is PR-related stuff, which is fine. Just the fact that they have a treasury means they're going to exist for a long time. They're never going to die because there's always going to be people promoting the project, people being paid Dash to be interested in the project, that sort of thing. Development is going to continue. All this stuff's going to continue. So from this perspective, I think Dash is well positioned because they have a treasury. If we look at the transaction counts and transaction sizes have decreased as transaction counts have increased. It's a pretty common correlation you see across all blockchains. Transactions per day, basically at an all-time high, discounting all of the stress tests that have occurred. These aren't organic transactions per day, whereas right now it's basically sitting at all-time highs, transactions per day. effectively. So it's bullish. Active addresses also very near all-time highs that were just set a few weeks ago. NVT is a garbled mess. I mean, you look at this on anything in a vacuum and you just throw it away because who knows what's going on here, right? You'd have to zoom way in, see where the median point of this is. You know, I don't know. I don't think it's a great metric for Dash. In a vacuum, it's rising, so it's bearish, but I wouldn't pay any attention to it personally. I just included it for completeness sake. MVRV is below 1. Anytime it's been above 3, that's been a local top, or a bubble top, if you will. So it's got a long ways for upside from that perspective. And MVRV is another metric of on-chain activity versus the market cap. So to me, this looks incredibly bullish paired with active addresses, paired with transactions per day. GitHub commits are fine. I mean, they exist. They're not zero. This is the improvement protocol stuff, so they're working on something. Again, to me, like, I don't really care about GitHub commits quality-wise. I just look at quantity. Is there any work being done? Binary, yes or no? Yes, okay, move on, cool. If not, it's a big red flag. Again, Google Trends. Google Trends have actually snuck up here on us a little bit in the past couple weeks on Dash. Do I think Dash is going to change the world or be significant in any way, shape, or form in the near or distant future? No, but I think speculative potential is definitely there. And if we look at technicals, the 5200 has been snaking in and out. So it's a weekly bullish signal here because it's been kind of noisy. If you zoom out on the 2-day and look at the 15 to 200 EMAs, it's about to cross bullish for the first time since 2018, maybe 2017. So it actually looks very decent from that perspective. Looking at yearly pivots, VPVR, RSI, it's above the VPVR key level at around 71. You can see all this volume, all this price action at 71. Upside probably limited in the near term to around 150 based on the yearly pivot. If things go nuts, 275. I think we'll get new yearly pivots before this breaks 275, and then we can make a decision from there. But it looks like it's basing. It's in an accumulation period. It's trying to find something. If you pair all this stuff together, look at masternode count, look at transactions per day, look at active addresses, look at Google Trends. Nothing is smacking you in the face, but it's all tipping bullish. It's all just tipping the needle, bullish, bullish, bullish. Not that it's a massively bullish trend, but it's definitely noticeably bullish here. Cloud, same thing, above the cloud, just flat out bullish. Again, if you looked at this on the 2-day chart, you'd say, wow, it's about to be above the cloud for the first time since 2018. I mean, that's a noticeable difference from what's been going on over the past 2 going on 3 years here for Dash. Dash BTC does not look very bullish. It's below the cloud. Below the 200, just absolutely smacked down every time. It's attempted a mean reversion, since 2018. I say in the article that there was a very large accumulation period. You see on the volume here. Very large accumulation period in 2014, 2017. So I don't expect this to just magically pop up above this 011 level. If anything, at this point, we could get an inverted head and shoulders that works itself out in like 2022. I mean, that's a massive time horizon, but that's kind of where we're at with Dash on Dash BTC. So overall, things leaning bullish, nothing smacking you in the face. But if we think about the rotation game, what may happen if BTC goes flat at all-time highs, or even as BTC pushes all-time highs, we typically see rotation into alts like Dash, which are older. They're not DeFi. They're not super in your face everywhere. They're just kind of listed places where you can trade them. So it's kind of a warm body that hasn't moved in a while. I mean, if you look at this chart, it basically Eiffel Towered between 2017 and 2019, and then it's just been stuck in this limbo zone since 2019. So it may finally break that limbo zone, may finally revisit some of these 2018, 2017 highs.